What is up, guys? I hear this all the time. You need to compete to get promoted. You need to compete to prove yourself. You need to compete to make sure your techniques work. You need to compete to prove that you're good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So the question comes up, do I need to compete? Guys, my name is Bill Jones. I'm the head instructor of top-level martial arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. I'm a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer. You're watching Professor's Corner. Please like, comment, subscribe. Do you think that competition is a requirement in order to be good at jiu-jitsu? If you meet someone who's maybe good in the gym and not the best competitor, do you think that makes them less valuable as an instructor or as a jiu-jitsu practitioner? So here's my thoughts on this. There is a lot of variation in what competition even means. I mean, are we talking about local competitions? Are we talking about worlds, pans? Are we talking about IBJJF, which tend to be slightly bigger? What are we talking about when we say competition? Sub only? Just grappling? MMA? What are we really looking at? And I'm just going to lump them all together. Here's my thoughts on this. Do I think you should compete? Absolutely yes. I think that you absolutely should compete if you're capable, you're healthy enough, you don't have any medical conditions that would make it so that you're likely to get really injured or something. If you're just going to get injured really badly, there's definitely no point in competing. But if you can compete and you're healthy enough to, yes. If you are not the face of a company, so like for example, I have some CEOs and stuff who train with me regularly, and they can't risk going into work with a black eye. They can't risk anything like that. I have some surgeons who train with me. They can't risk their digits not working. Not only is their job too important for them, it's too important for their patients, right? If yesterday, think about this, you're a patient of a surgeon, and you know that you're going to have surgery on Monday morning, and the surgeon goes and does a competition and boom, snaps his hand. Now you don't get to have surgery. Come on, that's a lot more important in the grand scheme of things than did this guy win some sort of competition. So I think that competition fulfills a very important part in jiu-jitsu. I do believe that jiu-jitsu, first and foremost, is about self-defense. That's another story. I don't think that means what most people think it means. And if you're putting yourself in a situation where you want to be good at self-defense, I think that the closer you come to an actual self-defense confrontation where someone's resisting 100%, the more likely you are to understand that you can deal with it. The anxieties that come with it, the huge adrenaline dump that happens the moment the ref says go, that kind of thing. You need to know you can deal with it. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's something you need to keep up. I'm not sure that competing one time is really going to help you with that too much. It's good to see and to understand and to feel it, but if you compete multiple times over the course of years, you're going to deal with it better than someone who, say, never competes, for the most part. Do I feel that you need to compete in order to get promoted? No, I can't say that I do. I feel like jiu-jitsu, a lot of people come into it for their own reasons, their own journey, and I don't mean to water it down. That's not my goal, and that's not what I mean when I'm saying this. But if somebody comes in and they just want to get healthier, they want to do something that they know is good, let's be honest. If even a blue belt in jiu-jitsu is 100 times more likely to defend themselves well in a fight, even if they don't compete, than someone who's doing, honestly, almost any other martial art, not including wrestling and boxing. Especially the alive martial arts, those are all great. If you're used to getting punched at and kicked at, and you're used to being scuffled around and stuff like that, you're going to defend yourself better than almost anybody once you get your mind about you. I think that where the problem comes in is it might take a little longer to get your mind about you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the minute a fight happens, the minute a match, like a real Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match starts, an MMA fight starts, there's a couple moments, if you're not doing it a lot, that you kind of go squishy in the brain. I don't know how else to describe it. And it doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to a lot of people. You just don't react the way you normally would. You're either doubting yourself or you're just not. You're still got to recognize that you're in a situation, and believe it or not, that's sometimes tough. There's training all about it. So, do I think that you should compete if you're capable? Yeah, I really do. I really do, and it's not because I think that you have to compete to get that belt, or to, like, if you can't win against other blue belts in a tournament, you shouldn't be a purple belt. I don't think that at all. That it just means too many different things. I think there's a lot of purple belts at the world level, world stage purple belts, world champion purple belts, who can beat, especially in their own game. Like if we said go, it's a 5 minute or a 6 or 7 minute timer, or whatever it is, the rules are the same. They can beat a lot, if not most, black belts, and even compete at the black belt level in that stage. They have a specific game. The biggest difference is at the purple belt level, they're going to have, like, and this is an example just to make it make sense. Obviously, it's not just this, but they're going to have like 2 or 3 things that they know how to set up. Boom, 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 like perfectly. They've just nailed it. It's all they drill. They've got it. Brown belt, 5 or 6 things. Black belt, 7 or 8 things. Right? That's kind of the difference. Is just that wheel of knowledge and that wheel of what they know is just expanding. But they've because they're a world class competitor, they've trained it ad nauseum. And I bet right now, and I'm in average shape at best. I just happen to be big. If I went up against a world class purple belt, probably give me some real headaches, guys. Real headaches, because they're going to have this 1 or 2 setups, and until I realize their setups, it's probably going to get me a few times. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's why we have world class athletes, right? So, do I think that you have to do that? No, but I do feel that there's a lot of value in getting in there. I'm not going to ever hold someone back from promotion because they don't compete. I'm never going to hold someone back in their jiu-jitsu journey because they don't compete. But I'm always going to be recommending, look, put yourself out there. Feel what it's like. Feel the anxiety and get past it. Because a lot of us are just trying to become a better version of ourselves. I know that sounds cliche, but I don't think you get there without going outside that comfort zone. I've talked about it before. Successful people try to fail their way to the top. That's what you do. And even myself, I put myself just this year into a super fight with a guy I had no business competing against. And I didn't know that until I competed against him. But he whooped my butt. It was a real fast match. And the good news is I've learned so much from that match. And I'm going to get better because of it. And I think that's really where I want to be, especially if you're serious about jiu-jitsu. Like if you're looking at it and you've been doing it for 2, 3, 4 years and you're thinking, I think I'd like to teach this someday. I really feel that if you're going to be an instructor, you need to compete. Because as an instructor, as someone who instructs, even though most of my people do not compete, several of my people do, and they want to come to me and say, hey, what do you recommend I train? How do you recommend I train? And if I don't have good tips, if I've never competed, how can I possibly give them any information on that? So I'm not saying you have to be good. Look at most coaches in most sports. Many of them never even played the sport at the professional level. But just because I haven't played it at the professional level doesn't mean I don't understand good coaching. Heck, one of the best coaches in the world right now, John Danaher, never competed at that level, but he just has a mind for it, right? And he has done some competing. He has done some level of that and has attained a certain skill level, right? And that allows him to see, and then he watches film, and you understand what's going on. You see trends, and that's what a good coach can do to keep you moving. Well, listen, guys, I hope this has been helpful to you. 5 little tips is coming next. Continue watching. Make sure that you see it. Do me a favor, ask some questions in the comments below. And, of course, I've always got to say, hey, please like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It does help the channel. I really appreciate it. Do you compete? I want to know. Talk to you later. 5 tips is next. All right, guys. I'm back. 5 tiny tips. Ed said, let's do scissor sweep. I hit a lot of scissor sweeps, and I see a lot of people having problems with scissor sweep. The main reason I feel is that your timing is off. So let's talk a little bit about the positioning of a scissor sweep and how to hit it live. Let's first talk about the position. It's obviously coming from the guard, but one of the big problems I see with the scissor sweep, let's not even talk about the hands yet, is that you're way behind the person. So if you look, and it might be hard to see from this angle. Let's turn 90 degrees. There we go. Like, see how my body is behind Ed's? Like, if this is the trailing edge of Ed and that's the leading edge, like, it's hard for me to affect him that direction and cut this leg in, because there's just no angle for it. So I see a lot of people, even if I have this gi, yep, you sit down. Like, even if I have this, it's going to be hard to sweep him just because his knee acts as a nice little base over there. Put your hand flat on the ground there for me. Nope, you keep the other leg right where it is. I'm going to move.
Yes, sir.
See, anytime you want to sweep somebody, you have to consider their base. A friend of mine calls it a theoretical base. And the idea is that if I'm trying to sweep him that way, this arm could go out there and stop it. Can you just demonstrate? Like, boom, see, he can put his arm out, or he can put his foot out, or his leg. So I need to take that ability away, and anytime I take one of those things away, I then need to sweep him in the direction of the things I've taken. Okay, so for example, put the arms back down, please. If I were to reach in and take this arm away, I can't then sweep him backwards, and that's essentially what I see a lot of people trying to do. I would need to sweep him that way, and that would roll him over. So the big issue is that you're trying to sweep in the wrong direction. Notice the grips that I have for a scissor sweep. It's collar sleeve. And that's because I'm not going to take him straight sideways. I'm going to take him more this way. His forward, in this case, left side. To do that, I need something to happen, though. I need to see him elevate. So detail number 2 is that I need to see his head rise. And it doesn't have to rise a lot. A lot of times it's just a shift while he's boss, right there. That's all I need. And when he starts to move, I pull to me. Watch this leg right here. Let's take all this out of the equation. Watch what this leg does. As he moves, I pull to me. I pull this knee toward me. Okay? And of course, this is keeping him pinned in place. So now you can get the other arm back in however you want. And I'm not worried about if this is flattened or not either. That doesn't bother me so much. As long as it doesn't go, if you think of parallel to the ground as like the 0 plane, and straight up and down like a tree as like the 90-degree plane, as long as it stays within that plane, I'm okay. And now if I start letting my knee point down at the ground, I'm not going to get my scissor sweep. So we're here, I see his head elevate, boom, I pull to me, and that's when this foot cuts out. Here. See how it drops to the ground? Boom. And it's going to cut into him. And now everything just moves, and his sweep is actually this way. All right? The first thing to hit the ground is his shoulder. Let's do it again. Might be by a millisecond, but it's there. So, grips, turn. When I see him shift, over. And the last detail that I see is more of a finishing detail. Just stay right there, Ed.
Yes, sir.
After I sweep him, my foot stays connected. This stays connected to his hip. And I use that to pull to end up on top. Let's do it one more time. So, detail 1 is not allowing myself to be behind him. I stretch my body, but if you look, I'm at his midline or forward. Detail number 2 is the time is when I see his head elevate. Then I pull to me. Detail number 3, cut out the leg. Detail number 4, hook on him, come up. Detail number 5, finish in a secure mount. Ed, thanks again for your help.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's 5 details on, probably more than 5 details on the scissor sweep. Call them whatever you want. Talk to you later.